Hey guys, I'm John Setzler. Welcome back to Man Cave Meals. Today we're going to fire up the Lonestar Grillz Pellet Smoker and we're going to cook some nice looking beef short ribs, so let's get started. I've got about 2.5 pounds of cut beef chuck short ribs here, and what I'm going to do is I like to season these the day in advance whenever possible, so you guys are familiar with how I like to do that. So what I'm going to do is just shake on a nice liberal coat of some of my homemade beef rub onto these ribs. And once I get that nice coat on there, I'm going to give those a few minutes, give that rub just a few minutes to set up on there before we move on. So after I let those sit for a few minutes, I went ahead and put them in a bag and put them in my vacuum sealer to let those tighten up overnight. So if you don't have a vacuum sealer, you just want to wrap these guys tightly in plastic wrap if you want to do an overnight dry brine. If not, just season these guys before you're ready to put them on the smoker. So we'll see you in the morning to head to the smoker with these. Okay, we're going to kick things off this morning by firing up the smoker and setting our internal temperature to 250, and we're just going to let this guy preheat. Our grills come to temp, and I've taken these short ribs out so you can have a quick look at them. These guys have marinated in the vacuum seal bag all night long in that salt rub that we put together. So I'll give you the recipe for my homemade beef rub in the video description. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and crack this grill open, and we're going to set these short ribs right up here on the top rack, right in the middle, and we're going to let these guys probably go here for about 4 hours or so before we come back to have a look. We've been going 2.5 hours here at 250 with these guys, and I'm pretty happy with how these look at this stage. The bone, we're pulling back off the bone. I've got some great color, and I think we're ready to move on to the braise. We're going to set up the braise portion of this cook in my Dutch oven. I've got some onion in here, and I'm going to set these beef ribs right on top of these onions in this Dutch oven. I've got a jalapeno pepper here that I have coarsely chopped, and I've got 2 cloves of garlic that I have just smashed. And to that, I'm going to add some beef stock. I'm not sure how much we're going to add here until I get the rest of that in. I'm going to add a bottle of Guinness beer. This is just a 12-ounce bottle, and I think that's going to work out. I've put 1.5 cups of beef stock in there, and what it works out to 1.5 cups of Guinness beer also. And I'm going to pop the lid back on that, and we're going to get this back in the smoker. I'm just going to set this on the bottom rack, and I've taken the top rack out to give that enough clearance, and then we're going to ramp the temperature up on the smoker. We're going to ramp this guy up to about 325 to finish that, and I'm going to be watching it because it's probably going to be another 1.5 hours or so until these become extremely tender. Okay, we've been going here about another 90 minutes or so, and these things are about ready. They're not quite there yet, but what we're going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of a cornstarch slurry here that I've made with about 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and 2 or 3 tablespoons of cold water, and we're going to dump that in there just to allow it to thicken that sauce. That we're going to turn the braising liquid into a sauce for this, so we're going to let that go probably another 30 minutes or so. Okay folks, this is about ready. In fact, it is ready. I'm going to let you have a look at this. It's kind of hard to see what's going on here, but these are fantastic. They're super tender, and that sauce has thickened up. So let's get started plating this. I like to get this party started with a bed of stone ground grits in the bottom of my bowl. And then I like to set one of my short ribs right on top of that. Then I like to drizzle on a little bit of that pan sauce that we made from that braising liquid. And then we'll finish it off with a little garnish of green onions. Does that not look amazing? Now I'm going to cut one of these and let you get an idea of what they look like on the inside. Have a look at that. It's got a beautiful smoke ring, and these guys are just super tender. I'm going to take a little edge off of that and have a taste. Guys, that's fantastic.